Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm thrilled to be speaking again with Gregory Armstrong. He's got a brand new song out. It's a cover of Journey's Still They Ride, but there's so much more to talk about. It's more than just the song. Greg, I'm so happy to have you here. How are you doing today? What's going on?
Austin, good to see you, man. Uh, Not a lot. It's warm here in Minnesota.
I'm sure of it. Right when fall should be starting, but the weather's a little screwed up everywhere.
It is, yeah. But hey, I'm digging it. I'm pretending I'm in California.
There you go. Hey, California's not much better. It's been pretty terrible there as well.
I
Weird
know.
weather, our sort of hurricanes, and just everything going on.
That's some crazy stuff.
Seriously. Okay, so we got to talk about this song. I first off, I love the original. I was raised on Journey, but
Yeah.
this song is more than just a song. It's well, I'm not going to take the words out of your mouth. I want to hear how the song was made. I know that there's a lot of amazing people involved in it, and you kind of feel like the focal point of these amazing projects that keep happening. So let's hear what's going on.
Thank you. I, like you, grew up on Journey as well. So, when this album came out, everybody listened to this album, both sides, over and over again. And you knew every song on the album. And this one, I believe this was the fourth single they released off the album, Still They Ride, off of their Escape album. But it was always one of my favorites. I just loved the melody of this song. Super powerful melody and just the lyric of this song always touched me. And this project came about. I'm a jingle writer by trade, as well as producer and
Sure.
other things. But I've been doing jingles for 30 some years. And Dave Mikulskis is one of my jingle singers that I do via the internet. So we've never met each other in person.
Never met
But
each
we've
other, but you've been working together for all this time.
exactly, yeah,
That's
kind of like
wild.
you, Austin. I've worked with you a couple of times now, but we've never
I
met each other in
guess.
person.
Yeah.
So it's the internet now. You can do things
Yeah.
like
You're right.
that.
You're
And
right.
in the jingle industry, actually, it's quite common. A lot of studios based on one studio, but they have musicians in all different studios across the
Sure.
country, really, that send in their projects to us. So Dave and I have been working together for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, 4 years maybe, and he let me know that he had early onset Parkinson's,
Oh, gee.
just in conversation one time, and I really had no idea. I couldn't tell by his vocal ability or anything like
Yeah.
that. He's a super high tenor, and actually reminded me of Steve Perry. So when I would get jingles that needed that kind of voice, I'd send them to Dave. And Dave brought up to me, actually, hey, do you want to play on my cover of Still They Ride? I want to do a cover. He was doing a YouTube channel with several covers that he'd do,
Okay.
and he would bring in other musicians as well. And sometimes only maybe one or two musicians, and use a karaoke track and sing over
Sure.
them. And I said, I'd love to, Dave, but let's make this bigger. I always dream big. I always get a kernel of an idea, and then I want to make it bigger.
Sure.
So he had just told me about his Parkinson's diagnosis, and so I said, let's do something. Let's bring in some remarkable players on the project. And I know you can sing like Steve Perry, so we got that covered. Let's bring in an awesome band, and then let's see what we can do for the Michael J. Fox Foundation.
Yeah. Amazing.
Let's see what, and bring that angle of it in, and perhaps do a lyric video, and make it bigger. And he loved that idea, and I just ran with it. I ran with it like I do. So I called Todd Zuckerman, the drummer from Styx, again, who's played on several of my projects,
Sure.
and he's a huge Steve Smith fan, drummer for
Okay.
Journey, and he goes, Greg, I can cut this without even listening to the track. I know that song inside and out,
Sure.
and I think he got it back to me within a week. I mean, I think
Wow.
he went one time through and had it. And
Sure.
the slow ballads like that, they seem like an easy song for a drummer, but when tempos are that slow, actually, it's really tricky
Makes
because
sense because of the
it
timing
is
and that.
it,
Yeah.
timing and everything. it's really hard to play a ballad with power and what Steve Smith had. I mean,
Sure.
it's a talent, and Todd nailed it. And so then I brought in some other folks that I had used in the past on my other project and jingles. Matt Kirkweld's on guitar, and Brian Hollenbeck is on bass, and myself on keyboards. And then we had Chuck mix it again, and that was that really put the sheen on everything once again. So I was really happy with the way this turned out. Then after we got it recorded, we did reach out to Michael J. Fox Foundation, and they heard it, loved it, and now they are promoting it via their avenues to promote
Wow.
people to the single, which is huge. That's huge. Every dime from the from downloading of this or streaming of this is going back to Michael J. Fox Foundation.
That's amazing. And of course, like we're going to have the links so people can click and share and do all that fun stuff. But the thing that I
Cool.
love, I mean, we've only been talking for a few minutes here, but even in our past conversation is like, it's like you said, you dream big and you do things big instead of just doing not necessarily a boring cover, but just making a standard cover. Like anyone can do that. And
Yep.
you think outside the box in this bubble, and it's huge, and you get people involved. Like, did your partner at any point know that you had these connections with all these other musicians?
I think Dave. You talk about Dave, the singer on it. Dave, I think he did because he followed me on the Facebook and YouTube
Okay,
and what.
okay,
So I think he knew I had some of these ideas, but that wasn't his intent at all. It was just to do
sure.
a cover, and he wanted to do a Still They Ride for the same reasons I do. It wasn't one that's. I mean, Don't Stop Believing's been covered a million times. Every cover band
Yeah.
does that song.
Don't need to hear
And
that one
Open
again.
Arms. Open Arms is another one that's been covered a lot. Great versions of it, but Still
Sure.
They Ride, if you look for it, it's really not been covered that much. So it was one off that album that we thought we could cover and do a great job with, but it would stand out a little bit because it's not been covered
Right.
many times. So
I also think just the nature of the song and what it's about, and it's got a really like inspiring nature about it. And if you're gonna, lend it to a Parkinson's Foundation, one that Michael J. Fox is representing, then yeah, it has to have those inspiring and optimistic qualities about it. It can't just be the
sure.
same old song over and over again.
Yeah, I know I've read up about it and what Steve wrote the lyric about, and it is about determination, perseverance,
Sure.
hope. Um, uh, but it wasn't written about Parkinson's, obviously,
Well,
back
no,
then.
that's
But
not what I mentioned.
when you put it under that perspective, and anybody with a debilitating disease and fighting, um, it goes hand in hand with it,
Sure.
and then we did a lyric video with it. We brought in some of those elements of Back to the Future.
Got
We
it.
brought in some of the just to give it that other connection to Michael J. Fox. And it's kind of funny that some of those lyrics, "Wheels on Fire" and "Chasing Thunder," I mean, they go with the Back to the Future
Exactly.
motif. So it's kind of funny how that all worked out. And Michael J. Fox just recently released a movie called Still, the Michael J. Fox movie, and
Right.
it's a bio doc about him, and
Sure.
it's called Still. So Still They Ride goes hand to hand again, but still, the reason he came up with that title for this documentary is he'd never been able to be still his whole life, his younger life. He's always pushing, always wanting to be
Yeah.
get bigger and whatever. When he did Back to the Future, I believe he was uh, doing Family Ties exactly at the same time, and so
Yeah, I
he
read
would
that the
do
other day, coincidentally, actually.
Family Ties during the day, and then go and shoot Back to the Future all night, maybe get an hour of sleep, and then go do it all over
And
again.
on.
And so that's what he did as a younger man. And now, ironically, later in life, he can't be still. I mean, he has
Right.
the shake, and he can't be still. So that's where that connection came. It's a great bio. If you want to learn more about the disease and about its foundation, it's a great bio.
Yeah. I recently heard that it came out and I haven't had the chance to check it out, but now it's high on my list. Pretty much,
Yeah,
and raised on him through my parents and all his movies and TV shows and this and that. And, what better way to do it than a listen to this and then a watch of that and get it all together.
Love it. Love
Love
it.
it. So what else has been going on? How do you approach these projects in
Oh,
and find time to do like your normal life stuff as well?
well, that's the balance is a tricky thing. You probably know this too, but balance is it is a tricky thing. I do this for my headspace. I really do.
Sure.
I work hard at doing all my other musical things, but this is one that I do um, for me. I mean,
Sure.
I really do it. It's not for money. It's to give back, and
Yeah.
it's something I feel I need to do, and it makes me happy to do it. And I love connecting people that have never worked with each other before. That's always fun for me. I'm working on another project right now where I am connecting people that maybe not all know each other, but we've never worked together,
For
and
sure.
that's a fun angle for me to do things.
Of course.
So
Do you find that the more projects you involve yourself in and the more that you sort of expand your bubble of people, the more people come up to you and kind of like, oh, I'm working on this project. Oh, I have this cover happening. And then it's just an endless process.
sure. Yep. It does. It does happen. It does. Some of it has grown that way, and it's not always covers. I actually one of the projects I'm working on is an original project. So
Oh,
it's I do a little bit of everything. When I want to add gravitas and people to really notice, it's hard to push an original song these days. It's just you do
yes.
it, you promote all the time. It's a difficult. There's so many out there, and there's
Yeah,
so many ways to get it out there now. Where there used to be whatever five big record companies, and now everybody's a record company. So, which is great. I mean, I'm all for
sure.
that, and I think it's a great thing. But it's also makes you hard to stand out. So when you do a cover, and it's going to get some attention because of the cover, obviously, but then if you do it well, hopefully it can break into some other markets that might not hear you, otherwise. So
That's the hard part. I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. Getting an original song out there today is like, it's near impossible. It's really difficult. I do find though that a lot of people get heard for the first time with covers, and that's a great avenue to go with, because
yep,
as far as like Google and SEO and stuff along those lines, people are searching for songs they already know. And if your name pops
yep,
up, they might give you a chance, and I think that's a great way to go about it.
sure. Yeah, honestly, the Beatles were a cover band. When
Right.
they played in the Hamburg and at the Star Club, they were a cover
Yeah.
band.
Yeah.
And then they found out that they liked each other and liked their writing style, and all of a sudden they started writing these amazing songs. So yeah, to get attention to start off with covers is definitely a way that's been going around for a long time.
Course. Well, someone like you that's obviously been doing this a long time, I know that you've worked on all different types of projects, originals, covers, and everything in between. Do you find that your sort of process changes depending on which project you're working on? Like, do you find it easier to work on originals or covers?
When you're doing an original, it's freeing because you can do whatever you want, and you're
True.
probably playing right to your wheelhouse. So you're doing everything in your wheelhouse
Yeah.
when you're doing your original song, and so you're going to be singing in your wheelhouse. You're going to be playing in your wheelhouse.
True.
When you're doing a cover song, it challenges you beyond your uh, maybe what you're used to doing.
Sure.
So there's two different processes. Yeah, when you're doing an original song, it's all you. It's all you in your wheelhouse, which is fun. But when you're doing a cover, it's an extra challenge because you want to try to uh, make it stand out and or replicate,
Of course.
and it's not coming from you, except what is coming from you is the emotion behind it. So you can get an emotion behind the cover, make it more emotional than the original. To me, I think this one, when we did Still They Ride, the way we did it here, Chuck brought this up. and it's true. I think if you listen to them back to back, and I've heard the Journey song so many times, but if you listen to the two back to back, this one sounds like maybe it was recorded in the Frontiers era versus the Escape era.
Okay.
So about 3 or 4 years later, where the drums got bigger, the sounds got a little bit bigger, a little more reverb, it was just a little bit bigger than the Escape album. So if you listen to them back to back, I agree with Chuck on that. That I think it sounds bigger than the original
Sure.
for that reason. It's an iconic song by an iconic band. You
Well,
know,
I'll have to do that.
there's no beating that song.
Of course
But
not.
you can, and we don't set out to beat it. You know, when I do a
No,
cover, I'm not trying to be better than that original. It's not going to happen
no.
because it's embedded in our minds. You know, that's the version. But when you do another version like this, you want to make it a little different. So
Sure.
we went with a little bigger sound. That's all I'd say we did to it. Otherwise, it really lines up pretty well with the original.
I agree. Definitely stays true to it, but a cover can't just be the same song over and over again. You have to add your own little
Right.
personal flourishes to it. Uh,
Yep.
so I have to ask, you obviously you've built up this circle of people, you've got your bubble. Is there anyone in your bubble or maybe slightly outside of it that you'd like to collaborate with, but haven't yet had the opportunity to?
Always, there's always people. I'm I'm going to mention him here, but
This is the
he's
plea. This
friends.
is the plea if they're watching to
Yeah,
please,
he's
please
a
work with
he's a
me.
friend of a friend, and I've always wanted to work with him. His name is Jason Shutt, and
Okay.
he's the singer, was a bass player in Chicago
Oh wow.
for years. He just left Chicago about, I don't know, 3 4 years ago now.
Oh,
But
that's
Jason is friends
not
with
to
other
interrupt, I
people.
just saw them in concert. That's too bad.
Wow, yeah. Um, Jason sang many of the hits after Pizza Terra left. So
Yeah.
throughout the '80s and '90s, all the David Foster era, when David Foster was producing Chicago, Jason Schuff was the bass player and main singer at that time.
Got it.
So that's the next guy on my palette I want to work with. And I have his number. I'm going to give him a call one of these days. So Jason, if you're listening, expect my call.
That's perfect. You take this video, send it to him, say skip to the 20-minute mark, and
Love it.
this is the plea to
Yeah,
you. Love it.
yeah.
I got a couple more for you. I want to know, you've mentioned a couple of the things that you're working on. Are there any other things that are happening this year in terms of covers or just like massive projects like this that you'd like to
I'm
talk?
work. I will. There's one other cover project I'm working on, and it's off of Don Henley's uh,
Oh,
first album that he did as a solo artist called "I Can't Stand Still," and the song is was not a hit off that album at all, and it's called "Talking to the Moon." And I I saw Don Henley at a private show, believe it or not,
wow.
right out I was home in outside of Dallas,
Sure.
and he was doing a private concert, and he did it with his own band, not the Eagles. He did it with his own group, and he did question and answer for 3 hours. He sat there and played his song, played Eagle songs, but he did question and answer for 3 hours,
Dang.
and there was probably 200 people there. I was one of them, and my buddy is a huge Eagles fan. He brought me to this particular show, and it was kind of off the radar. Most people would know known about
Yeah.
it, and he played that song, and it moved me so much. Talking to the Moon, that it inspired me to do this cover.
Awesome.
It's a song that I don't think a lot of people know, and I want to make some people know about it again. I mean, it's probably recorded at let me see, mid '80s at some point, which is a lot of my songs. You'll notice it kind of gone to that mid '80s time because Still They
Okay.
Ride's another mid '80s
Sure.
song, actually early '80s song. So those were my growing up years. So a lot of those songs will come from that era. I listened to that Henley album a lot. Um, but this song again, "Talking to the Moon," was not a, a, a big single off that album. So
Yeah.
uh, I'm going to go for that one next, and maybe Jason Shuff will play on that one.
Who knows? I think we put it out into the universe and now it has to happen.
There you go.
Yeah, no, I've
Sounds
never
good.
heard that song, but I'll give it a listen after this.
Give
Uh,
it a listen. It's a moving song. It's really lyrically it's more biographical to Don Henley
okay.
in his upbringing in Texas, but it talks about the loneliness of a small town kind of.
Sure.
That he was breaking out of, I
Got it.
think, and the memories of that small town. So um, that's where lyrically it sits.
Sweet. Well, the last thing is really, is there anything else with this current project that I may have missed or that you'd like to mention before people get into it?
No, just check it out at all the links that you're going to supply, and you can listen to it on any platform. All the money goes to Michael J. Fox Foundation, and we're just excited to do these kind of projects. I don't think there's anything that we didn't cover. It's been a long process on this one. I will tell you
Yeah.
that this one was probably almost 2 years in to put together. This one was longer than some of the
Wow.
projects, but and getting the lyric video done and everything. So it was probably a 2 year project. So not everything we do is comes together in a month or a week or two,
That's
but
okay.
that's okay.
Things take
That's
time.
okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
All right, Greg. Well, again, I want to thank you so much for taking the time. And please, everyone out there, we'll have the links in our articles so that you can check out Still They Ride and all the links to the foundation as well. And just generally support this. Like, it's a great song and a great cause. So thank you. Seriously, thank you as always for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Austin. Anytime, man. We'll talk
Awesome.
again.
Take
Okay.
care. Stay cool. And I'll talk to you soon.
You too.
All
All
right.
right. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.